Hello everyone. I hope that you are doing well and good. In this video, we are going to talk about stored procedure in MySQL. So you may be thinking, what is a stored procedure? A stored procedure is nothing but a function in MySQL. And what is a function? A function is something that may or may not take an input of an parameter and produce a certain output, but we may add some certain calculations in the function itself. Let's say we want to create a function that multiplies two numbers. We take the input to the those two numbers as an input, and then we cross multiply it both the variables in the function, and then we return that output if we take the context to that of Python. But in MySQL, we are doing a stored procedure is basically a function, so we may and may not take the parameters inside it. And let me just show you like how it is working in here. So I have taken our employees database, and let's drop procedure if exists select employees, which I'm going to create again. Now you can see that we are starting with our delimiter delimiter, and we reset our delimiter to double dollar symbol. Then we create the procedure and we name our procedure, and our procedure ends with a parenthesis or circular brackets, and we begin our procedure, then we end it, and we end it with the $2 symbol, which is our new delimiter. Then we reset our delimiter with a semicolon again. So that is the syntax, and that is the body of our function or our stored procedure that we are going to create here. And select star from employees is the query that we are executing. So if I simply run this query select star from employees, it will give everything that is there in our employees table, which is extremely simple. So the initial statement I have taken extremely simple just because of that. So now if I execute our procedure, you can see that the create procedures is created, and if I refresh my schema, my select employees is created. Now after creating a procedure, we have to call our procedure. So we write call employees dot select employees. Either we give the name to the database first dot the procedure, or we can directly call it the procedure itself, because we are currently in this database itself. We are using this database itself. And if I simply execute it, then you can see that is calling select star from employees. So everything that is in the employees table, it is calling. Now let's take another example. Drop procedure if exist, average salaries. Now let's see whatever we have in the salaries. We have select average salaries as the average salary from salary. So basically we are taking the average of the salary from the average salary, and we are finding out what is the value of it. And again, in this procedure that I have created, I have not taken any parameters in our procedure or our function. And now if I execute the statement, then if I call our average salaries again, then it will just simply show me the average salary. So now you are getting a gist of it. Now let's give some inputs to our query. And this is our third example. Drop procedure if exists employee average salary out. Let's execute this one. Okay, now I have created a procedure employee average salary out. I have taken in a parameter and I have given out another parameter. So whatever the parameter that we are taking in here, we also have to specify the data type of that parameter. So we are taking an integer and we are outputting a decimal 10 value to the two decimal places. So decimal of base 10. Now if we see okay, now we are asking what is the P employee number and what is the P average salary. So select average salary as into P average salary. So into keyword is used to assign a value to a variable. So P average salary is a variable. So basically I can either we can assign a variable by set variable, which I will show you in a while, or we can directly assign a variable by adding it into our function. So since we added it in our function, it is assigning it it is basically creating it in within the function itself. So we don't have to assign any value to it as of now. It will assign any value by default, and otherwise we do have to do that into p average salary from employees join salaries on e dot employee number is equal to s dot employee number. So employees table and salaries table we are joining on the basis of the employee number, where e dot employee number is equal to p dot employee number. Now if I simply execute the statement, then it is created. If I refresh it, employee average salary out. Now let me just show you by clicking on this symbol, which is like a lightning bolt, and if I click on this, it is asking me to input employee number, which is a p underscore employee number. So let's say that I'm going to input 10001, which is our employee number, and if I execute it, it basically gives me it opens a new query, and it is showing me set at the rate p average salary is equal to 0. So p at the rate underscore at the rate p average salary is our variable, and whenever we are going to assign a variable, we started with at the rate simple plus we use this set. So we set a variable in this, then we are calling that variable sorry, we are calling that stored procedure as employees dot employee average salary and 1001 comma at the rate p average salary. What is this average p average salary? This is the output. So input and output, I have only provided the input, so this is the output, and select p at the rate p average salary it is showing. If I execute this one, so basically it is giving me out the p average salary of that employee. Now you already know that in our salaries table we have salary of an employee, starting salary and ending salary, uh, with different increments. So let's say an employee had 5 increments, so he will have 5 salaries. So it is taking out the average salary of that employee, as simple as that. Now moving back to the stored procedures again, and in this I have only provided one input, which is an integer type value. Now let's say, okay, I have also called it here as well. So if I execute this, it is showing me a warning, data truncated, p average salary at row 1. Let's execute this one, and it is giving me out the value. So basically if you want to call the output, you have to select output. Okay, and you can select directly a variable. So this is a variable itself. Now let's take another example. So in this case I have shown you select, let's say we have this query, select employees number from employees e first number is Zito and last e first name is Zito and last name is Pehl. Let's execute this. Okay, so employee number is this, and let's say I'm executing it again. Select star from employees where first name is Zito and last name is Pehl. Let's execute this one. So I'm getting employee number, everything, birth date, first name, last name, gender, height, date, whatever column that we are having in that table. Yes, and why I'm showing you this, because in the next in the procedure example that I'm going to show you, we are using the same query. Now drop procedure if exist employee underscore info. Now I have dropped it, and now let's create this. Now before creating, let's see what is in our select statement. And what is in our function or stored procedure? What are the parameters we are taking? So we are taking input in first name, then again last name. We are inputting first name and last name from the user itself, and we are outputting the employee number from there. So select employee number into p underscore employee number from employees e, where the first name is equal to first name and the last name is equal to last name. So p dot first e dot first name is equal to p underscore first name, and e dot last name is equal to p underscore last name. So that is a variable. Do remember that. So we have to like give the output to the from the value of the table. We have to give output to the variable itself. So we are basically assigning the value to the variable. And if I execute this one simply, now it is created. Now if I refresh it, and employee info, if I click on this again, lightning bolt symbol, then you can see that it is asking me the first name and the last name. So the first name is Zito and the last name is PEHL. Now if I execute this, then it automatically adds Zito in here and PEHL in here, and it is outputting whatever the value we are having in the employee number. So now if I select it, the variable p underscore employee number, and execute this, then we are getting the employee number of that name, whatever the name that we have input. So now the question is, why do we use stored procedure? So we use stored procedure to, let's say for example, we want to take input from the user and we want to give some output to the user. And to make that interface, we use stored procedures. And a stored procedure is basically a kind of function. So that is why we use a stored procedure. And with this, I have also created the same syntax here as well. Let If I execute it, it will show me the same value. And with this, our video on stored procedure gets over. uh, do try to experiment with the stored procedures, and then play around, and you will get to know more things about it. There is more to explore in here. So I hope you liked my explanation in here, and thank you for watching.